Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session on new event marketing titled Spreading the Word in a Modern World. My name is Carlos, and I'm a sales manager here at vFairs. I am really blessed today and joined by two esteemed panelists to discuss the future of event marketing and how they spread the word about their events with all the options available out there. To start with, I'll introduce you to a wonderful guest that you can get to know them. Let's start with you, Miss Alquincia Hadleigh. Thanks for being here with us. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. So very honored to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. I'd love to expand a little bit more about your achievements, Alquincia. Alquincia has brought major inventions of how people shop online. Alquincia is the founder and CEO of the Black Virtual Mall and founder and CEO of First Generation App Development Company. She has now created an emerging industry as the first virtual commercial property developer with the newly formed company Interimmersive LLC, developer of the Black Virtual Mall and most recently the Black Virtual Convention Center. Alquincia is most known for providing a free, useful business advice to her 177,000 Instagram followers aimed at advancing women and minority entrepreneurs. Her efforts were recently recognized by senior contributor Dr. Janice Gassam and earned her a feature in Forbes magazine. Thanks again, Alquincia, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And our next speaker is Miss Hadleigh Tweedle. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. It's good to have you too. For those who don't know Miss Tweedle, she's Vice President of Marketing of Totara Learning, a global learning and development platform that serves over 19 million users across 47 countries. She leads communication strategies that drive brand awareness and demand generation, supporting the organization's ongoing expansion efforts into the Americas. Hadleigh has years of proven results in leadership, marketing strategy, global brand management, digital marketing, and product innovation. With both ad agency and brand marketing experience, Hadleigh's expertise lies in building and scaling successful cross functional marketing teams. Now, to be honest to both of you, my introduction to myself now seems a bit short and simple after yours. But this has built more excitement on my side to begin our discussion today. So why don't we get started?
Sure, sure.
Wonderful.
Awesome. So let me start with you, Alquincia, and I will start with questions that I will, bounce around between both of you. Alquincia, how important is video content for the future of event marketing, especially with platforms like TikTok sweeping the world? How do you think you can improve short form videos in your events?
Well, I think that it's absolutely essential, especially as we are doing virtual events, because the concept of virtual, it doesn't really have like a definitive definition in the mind of users, right? So I remember when I first started to speak about the Black Virtual Mall, people largely understood mall, but then they stretched to kind of like, wait, virtual? Like what is that going to look like? And so I think that being able to provide that content so that they can actually visually see what exactly we have to offer and what the differentiator is really, really important to help them to understand exactly the experience that they are going to get and how it stands out. So I think that if you can show them, especially like over the shoulder videos are sometimes really, really great for that walkthrough experience in your event. Sort of like that little virtual tour. I think that those are really, really helpful.
Awesome, awesome. Now, same question for you, Hadleigh. How important is video content for the future of event marketing, especially with platforms like TikTok sweeping in the world?
I completely agree. What TikTok has taught us is that the shorter the better, concise, engaging, exciting. I use video for everything from promotions to the actual event itself. So, from a promotion standpoint, in my past role, we had regional events, and it was a similar event that traveled regionally, right? And so, what we were able to do is capture quick hitting videos at certain events to promote future events, since it was a very similar structure. So things like testimonial videos, content features, using your speakers to actually promote what their sessions are going to be, instead of reading a full long, synopsis of this is what my session's going to be. Just quick hitting 30-second video. Here's a highlight of what I'm going to talk about. At the event itself, from a virtual standpoint, one of the things we've done in the past is having personalized messages whenever you enter the virtual space, whether that be from a leader or an industry influencer, but something to bring them into the environment to make it feel very personalized and welcoming. And then things that I've personally enjoyed at events that I've gone to is quick sessions. So I don't know if either of you have attended anything with micro sessions, but they're usually either a minute or 5 minutes, and it's like a quick hit of content that you're able to absorb, and it's interesting, it's dynamic, and it's not a snooze fest where you sit there for an hour and someone's speaking and it becomes almost repetitive a little bit, and you lose interest. It's these quick, hard hitting, top 5 things to take away for 2022 or things like that you're able to just absorb and then move to the next one. It's very much like that TikTok model where you peak after a few minutes and then you're ready for the next piece of content. So video is key for sure.
Awesome, good to hear. That micro sessions, as you mentioned, is something really important, and the content that will be there needs to be on point too. I don't know about you, but whenever I go to social media, I see that everything is video marketing, right? Not just static images anymore. And I don't know if it happens to you, but when I'm in the shower and I say I definitely need to buy a new couch, I don't know, for some reason the phone understands me. I don't know if it's Alexa who's connected, but suddenly I open my phone and there's like a couple buying a sofa right at Facebook. So I mean,
that's called successful targeted marketing. Yes,
exactly. And then it's retargeting, because I go into the store and suddenly I get more ads like, hey, you should have bought that lamp too. But anyways, it is how it is. Now, Alquincia, next question for you. How relevant is email marketing for the future of event promotions?
So, confession, as an app developer, I sort of largely moved in the direction of push notifications, and SMS for a while. I think, a lot of us felt like the conversion rate on email was just so low that, it was dead. So it's push notifications and SMS entered. I really kind of focused on that. Now I have recently, kind of like gotten really reacquainted with email. And what I understand now too, from a different perspective, is that email one is critical, but I think it's really the psychographics component that people don't understand. I think so many people fell into the just hard hitting over and just overdo and break through, and that largely turned the consumers off of email, right? The over flooded spam boxes. So I think it's a psychographic. So for example, my consumer is largely entrepreneur based and maybe working a part-time, full-time job. So me understanding kind of the behavior of my consumer, I'll send them emails at between like 5 and 7 in the morning when I know that they're up, they're grinding, they're ready to absorb informational content. And I tend to get, of course, the best open rate during that time and the best conversion rate. And I've tested that against trying to send it like maybe around lunchtime or, after work. And I just don't have the success with that because, again, these are people who have very fulfilled lives. And so they're largely parents and, they're time consumed. By the end of the day, they're burnt out. So it's really understanding the psychographics of your consumer that I think makes email the most effective use.
Awesome. Now, Hadleigh, I would like to hear also from your side, like how relevant is email marketing for your event promotions?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, email marketing, I think in the past and even earlier in my career, you could send a generic message and you would get engagement, you would get response, and you could rely on it as almost a sole channel to drive something. And now, as everything is diversified, as people's inboxes are so cluttered, I feel like email has now become one channel that, yes, it's necessary, but it's part of a broader campaign. You can't just rely on it solely. And really, what I do from an email marketing standpoint, I use it more for the post event engagement. So
Mhm.
after they've already made an engagement with you, they've already had a conversation or attended, certain events, and we know exactly what their behavior was at the event. You're able to then personalize it even more and continue that engagement and that loyalty following the event. Segmented messages are super important as well. Like I said, that one broad message just doesn't work anymore. And the challenge that I've faced with segmented messaging is the amount of resources it takes. So while I'm trying to, send a certain, so let's say it's one event, and I'm, segmenting based on different sessions that I think that person would be interested in based on their activities, it ends up being 10 to 15 emails for what used to be one. So the investment within content developers and email marketers, like I said, real good content developers, so that's essential because they have to be able to take one generic message or one general event and be able to personalize it for each specific audience. So it ends up multiplying the amount of resources, but when it is personalized, you just see ROI really increase there.
Agree. And of course, any marketer who sends an email is competing with, summer offers, sales,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
everything piling on the inbox, right? So subject
Yes.
lines also play like a key element there, right? Like
Mhm.
what type of catchy subject line is going to uh, overplace a Macy's offer of 70% off, right, for all members. I mean, something like that
Yeah.
is definitely on point. So I do appreciate the feedback on both of you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Definitely.
so, Quincia, question for you based on social media, right? Like, which social media platforms do you think are worth focusing for your event marketing campaigns? Do you have like
It,
any favorites?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
go
well,
ahead.
okay. So when we say virtual, of course, we're going to appeal to the youth, and that's going to be your TikTok audience. But
Mhm.
because I have a marketplace, I have to focus on those with the purchasing power. So Facebook is that, and I hate to say it, no shade to Facebook, but it's kind of like where grandma lives now. So, so
It depends on region for sure. I mean, like
right,
India,
right.
Facebook is like the number one platform, so it's all regional
Yeah.
too.
So
Yep.
it's there, but so for me, Instagram is that really good pocket. It's still that, where they're young enough to appreciate and be interested in the virtual part of what I'm doing. And they do still have, the purchasing power. They're not as financially challenged as our youth, so
Right,
for
right.
me, Instagram is largely definitely there. I am now starting to focus more on YouTube. I think YouTube is a great place for informational type of content. So as I pivot the type of content, YouTube is definitely going to be one of the things that I highly focus on as well, and take advantage of their shorts as well.
Awesome, awesome. And what about you, Hadley? Like, do you have like any specific social media channel that you use for your events?
I don't. It to me, it all depends on the target audience. I mean, in my past role, it was very much, business professionals, right? And so to me, then I would go right to LinkedIn. You could do some nice targeting based on that audience, persona, and use things like Facebook and Instagram as secondary if they've already engaged at the ad. Now, if it is a younger demographic, that's when you do start looking to things towards Instagram and more video content and things like that. It really all just depends on the event and your audience. And using market research to determine that too. I mean, it's you would think, a business professional, they're always on LinkedIn, and that's not always the case based on the industry, based on region. I know you were saying Facebook's dead. I feel like it is in the US. And then, I have an event that happens in India, my prior role, and that was the number one source. I mean, because that is, 90% of their population is engaged with Facebook. So it all just depends on the region, the audience. And I know that's not a good answer, but it does. There's no like one turnkey of, if I get this on social, it's going to produce results. It's fine tuning in looking at a variety of different social channels and how they all work together. Um, to make those results happen.
Awesome. Look, I feel younger after you both have said that Facebook is that, Instagram is the thing, because I spend my time on Instagram posting baby photos or whatever, right? I do have that
Yep.
question that says, would you like to post it on Facebook? Which I do. And the reason is because my mom and older aunts are also there, right? So I also have like the family likes on Facebook and obviously like more close friends on Instagram. So thank you for that. I feel like super young right now.
And one of the things I was just thinking about as you said that, from an event standpoint, that I have tried in the past is making specific events like a Facebook event or a LinkedIn event. And that has actually worked pretty well. Being able to link that event back to your registration page. But there's that influencer piece, right? So if I, say I'm going to attend an event that's posted via Facebook, then it alerts all of my audience that I'm attending. And it's just a really good organic driver of your event. I know Facebook and LinkedIn both do it, and like I said, I've seen some good results with that as well.
Right, and it's free, right? I mean, you could post an
Yeah.
event on any of those channels, right? So
Mhm.
why not do it anyways if you're gonna get
Yep,
organic, right? And now that you
definitely.
touch base on that influencer marketing, Alquincia, what's your take on influencer marketing for your business?
Well, I am also what we would consider a macro influencer. So, if you have 100,000 or more followers, you're considered macro, not mega yet, but macro influencer. And so my perspective on it is twofold. As one, an influencer, a person whose people have utilized my services, sometimes paid, sometimes organically, and then also a person who utilizes influencer services as well. So one of the things that I think that has largely changed and shifted is, one, it's not as easy anymore. It used to be the go-to, sweet spot for you. Find an influencer, and things were really organic in terms of traffic. But I think that largely what happened is, once the market got really monetizable, a lot of the influencers, to be quite honest with you, they lost respect for their audience. And I mean, basically, they started to prioritize money over authenticity, over their audience's trust. And so you could literally find influencers and they would promote anything. They promote things that have nothing to do with their brand, things they've never tried, things that they don't use. And now, here recently, a lot of scams to their audiences. So I think that the audience is really kind of over that kind of being used, and they're feeling insulted a lot of times when you just place a product in front of them without any consideration. So I think that the audience is just not as effective anymore. A lot of influencers also got lazy. It just became product, here, go buy it, and so now I see that more brands are shifting towards the nano and the micro influencers who have smaller audiences that are very much still tribal and communal at that sense. And they're like more in touch and in tune with their audiences, because as they're growing, you'll see the same sort of life cycle where it's like, oh my God, I'm so happy you guys are here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And they're so much more appreciative and responsive to their audiences. And I'm also seeing that people are getting really, really good at what I call infotisement. So you get the educational pieces and they take that moment to inform you and roll that into that educational segment. So some of my favorite channels on YouTube, for example, they're really good at placing that particular product in with the subject matter. And I love it because as they're talking about like maybe internet security or something, and they partner with the company or a brand, it just makes more sense to offer that there. So I think that that's really one of the things to be mindful of. The numbers just don't matter as much as they used to. It really is definitely the organic, real, and authentic engagement.
Awesome, good to hear. And Hadleigh, I know that you mentioned a few key things on influencer marketing. Anything that you wish to add to that question?
I will say I am not an influencer. I have like maybe a few hundred followers, but I look at influencer marketing from a strategic marketing perspective. So I definitely appreciate all of your insight because it's just the other side of it. But from my side, you know, I don't think of influencer marketing as just the person on Instagram, promoting a product or promoting a brand. That's one channel to me, but in every industry there are influencers. It doesn't have to just be the ones that you come to mind when you think influencer. I think of beauty and things like that are happening on socials. I mean, I have used influencers in the tech development space. They are web developers or software developers, and maybe they have a personal blog just about geek stuff that they like to post about. I've used people like that to help promote some of the events that were relevant to that audience. I've used industry professionals, thought leaders that are in a specific industry to be able to just share videos, like back to that small short video form, just quick videos saying, I'm going to this event and this is why. I also see the speakers as being big influencers. If you have headliners, the keynotes that are happening at your event, get them great toolkits to be able to promote the event within their social channels, or even within their email market, within their database, to get that information out there to help drive event attendance. So influencer marketing I'm very pro influencer. I think it's absolutely necessary, but you have to be very strategic of, again, understanding the audience, understanding the type of people that would be coming to this event, and how do we get the right people involved to help promote it out. So I just think it expands so far, and being able to do partnerships with marketing with influential websites and things like that. I think there's just a slew of things that you can do in that area.
I agree. And if you're trying to target the Gen Z, it's a little bit more picky, right? They won't buy a product unless they really trust you or see proof of it, right? So that's a big challenge, and good thing also for marketers, right, is redesigning strategies as they go and as technology evolves as well. So just totally awesome what you just said. Now, Alquincia, now since we're talking about innovative marketing, right? What are the right tools for an innovative event marketing, right? Do you believe companies can succeed without these tools?
Well, I personally feel like it's really brand contingent, or like for me, largely what I do comes through me, right? So my platform is really based around me. I am the personal brand, and everything is sort of an extension. So it's not necessarily that blank company focus. So I really feel like it's whatever tool best fits you, right? Whatever tool you're able to maximize. There are some people who are amazing at long form content. So then you're going to, maybe center more around something like Facebook. There's people who are great at video, and so I think it's really contingent on, one, how, what message you're communicating, but also how effective you are and what is your specialization in that. Some people are just talented where they're all over the place. But I think it's really, whatever is best for you is the tool that you want to tap into and focus on that.
Awesome. Hadleigh, do you have like any favorite tools for innovative event marketing? Something that you have there that we don't know that you're using right now?
I think the number one tool for any marketing, event marketing in particular, is a good CRM. I mean, HubSpot and Salesforce I've used quite a bit in my career. I would say they're pretty top notch, but having a good CRM just redefines everything. And that's where you get all of the targeted communication, because you're able to then track if someone comes to your website and they're looking at certain content, that's, a blog or whatever that they're interested in, then we know that. And now the ads delivered to them can be targeted based on that. So it just personalizes everything to have that good CRM. It also keeps your data nice and clean. It can be used as a sales tool directly with the sales team as well. I mean, within marketing and sales, the CRM, and getting that set up properly and utilizing it to its fullest is crucial. Not all companies can do that. It's so comprehensive, these tools, and the amount of things that it can do. Sometimes, you're only using like a sliver of the product, but being able to integrate all of your marketing channels in one source with clear data is crucial. And my second tool is exactly that, is good data, having good data and good research. Whether that be, looking at, Google Analytics and your engagement and email open rates and all of that, not looking at them individually, but looking at them holistically. I've used BI tools in the past that brings all of the data together, to be able to kind of analyze what's working, what's not. And that's a great way to find holes in your data, to understand, like, what do we need to know more about our target audience. And that's when you can do additional, market research to understand, who it is you're trying to reach, what are their needs, wants, challenges, things that keep them up at night, filling those gaps in with more rich information about them, because that is back to the personalized piece. That's key to be able to, like you had said, coming, in the shower, you think of this, and then all of a sudden, like that flow, that whole customer journey, from when you first look at an article to then you start investigating it further, and then all of a sudden you start seeing ads about that, and don't forget to buy it, and then it's this whole flow that gets you to a conversion. A good CRM is absolutely essential for it.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more with that. And yeah, I mean, marketers need to be making investments on budget, marketing, etc., based on data-driven decisions, right? Basically, I mean, that way you don't burn your marketing budget, and obviously, campaigns are working on spot. So yeah, definitely CRM tools and integrations on the CRM tool as well, right?
Yep.
Having your Facebook campaigns, your AdWords campaign integrated there. Where you could have your
All
dashboard.
one beautiful source of knowledge.
Yeah, agreed. And obviously with that, you have also a human resource too, which is a CRM specialist, right? Which
Yep.
usually is that person that will pull that data and put everything for you in place. So yeah, great comments on that. So moving on to the next question, Alquincia, I know that you use several marketing platforms. Like how do you figure out what's the best one for events? Like how important is data analysis on that specific process?
Wait, so wait, can you repeat that? I was looking at the
Sure,
other question.
yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine. How do you figure it out what marketing platforms will work best for your events? Like how important is the data analysis on that process?
Right. So for me, really, it's the simple. It's the how did you find us, right? That I think that is such a critical, overlooked thing that we kind of, a lot of people have kind of largely gotten away from, is that post, or sometimes pre questionnaire that you're able to add, and a lot of times I'm assuming the traffic, a lot of times you're assuming, especially if you're on social media, it's hard to sometimes ascertain that data if you're using an influencer, unless you have like a referral code for them or an affiliate code for them or something like that. Sometimes it's kind of hard to derive that data. So having that question, how did you find us? I'm sometimes very shocked at how people are discovering me, my events, my platforms, and what I'm doing. So one, whenever I'm going to ask that question, of course, and if possible, make it a required answer. If you can do it with a drop down where it's not something they actually have to type in, sometimes it just makes it an easier exit for them. But that one is absolutely essential. It's been essential for my apps. It's been essential for my events. Then, of course, if I am partnering with someone, it is having that affiliate link. It is having the referral code. It is having things that incentivize them and their users to, input that information of the discovery of where they found, whether that's a special discount that's offered. And then it does let you know exactly like how effective your reach is, because I've had that similar situation where, I've rolled a lot into what I thought was going to be a successful influencer, and they were outperformed by the micro influencer, in terms of conversion rate. So that was absolutely essential, because perception is one thing, but data is key.
Awesome. And Hadleigh, what about you? Like, how do you figure out what marketing platforms will work the best for you?
I have a very similar answer. I think that's spot on. I mean, being able to find the source from how they found out about your event. I think a good, back to the CRM, I think a good tool can help identify where those sources are coming from. I think the drop down, to your point, is absolutely spot on as well, to be able to identify and track back to what was working, what wasn't. I mean, data is everything. To be able to use data analysis to determine your plan, to determine, what you're going to do next year for that same event. Yeah, having those post event, synopsis of figuring out, okay, where did all of our attendance come from? What channels did work and didn't work? Because sometimes it's regional, sometimes it's the time of year. I mean, we've had events where it's in the sweet spot in June where everyone happens to take a vacation, and it's a dead event. And so being able to not just look at the marketing efforts, but those other factors. Is it a bad location? Do they have trouble getting to the event? Like I said, the time of year, all those factors, to have a comprehensive understanding of what worked and what didn't, to make the following year or the next event or whatever it is more successful is important.
Good to hear. And I know that we have been speaking about digital marketing, basically, right? But for example, Alquincia, how effective do you think is out-of-home marketing for future events in the post-COVID era, right? I mean, we have been being digital for the last couple of years, but does companies need to still invest like in billboards and that sort of advertising outdoors?
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone's like, we're outside, right? I know personally, it just like really going out and seeing people, it feels so brand new. So I think right now there's an opportunity to be seen in a way that we literally just could not foresee. So I think that largely we are all aware, and when you dive into marketing, that customers have gotten like really ad fatigue. And I'm in New York, right? So if you go down to Times Square, there are ads everywhere. Everything is saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. Everything is just in your face. And now with the phones, and so it was just like everything is grabbing attention. And as we know, the brain can't process that amount of stimuli. So the brain has to eventually shut down access to itself, from things. So it basically goes blind to a lot of things. And I think that when you remove that overt stimuli, your brain is now able to see things again. It's kind of like in the Febreze commercial with going nose blind. You sit there, you don't smell it anymore, right? You walk out, you walk back in, you're like, okay. Yep. So I think a lot of us now, we're coming outside, and it reminds me of like Plato's ascent from the cave, right? We're like crawling out of our dark holes. And we can see bright light and things again. So I think right now it's a great time to take advantage of that, that just the new eyes, that people have, the new ears that people have. So I think it's a great time right now to do that and cross promote, utilize QR codes and things like that still, channel back that access to your virtual event. But yeah, I think it's a great time to capture some of that.
Awesome. Now, Hadleigh, basically same question for you. Like, have you been using out-of-home marketing lately? Is it part of your strategy moving on your industry?
Well, first of all, I love the nose blind. That's totally on point. Out of home for me, it's funny. My early career was very traditional advertising. I did radio, I did print, I did billboards and TV ads, the old school 30-second TV ad. And I quickly learned that my long-term career was going to die pretty quickly if that was all I was, good at and could focus in. So it's the same today. I mean, out of home is to me an additional channel. I've always used out of home more as an awareness driver than I would an actual conversion for, an event. But the awareness is half the battle, and especially for regional events. If there's something big coming to town and being able to promote that, it's important. But you can't measure the ROI like you can in digital ads. So as long as you use out of home as one part of a multi-channel campaign and then extend that experience. So if you're able to track, if you're able to figure out, geo-targeting of where they are to be able to follow up with digital ads to actually get the conversion, is super important, because it's an awareness tool. It's not a conversion tool. So, but still important. Awareness is, like I said, half the battle. Still important as part of the overall marketing strategy.
I'm sure that those billboard placements, the ones that are, in the middle of the road where everyone goes by, those are probably the most expensive one. I wonder if they still the same after the pandemic, right? If they raise their prices again. Not so sure about that, but I'm the type of guy that if I'm on traffic, I will see a nice ad that I actually value. I would say that's really creative. I would look up like what was the agency who created it, Leo Burnett,
Yeah.
Publicist, like I'm that type
Yeah.
of person, right? But yeah, I will Google that later. uh, so, Quincy, a question for you: what content marketing strategies do you use to maximize event attendance? What's the strategy on that turnout?
Well, for me, it's really straightforward. I focus on communicating the tangible benefits for them to attend the event, and of course, what is going to be the cost of not attending the event, right? I think that is primarily, sometimes we've kind of focused on the fluff of the event. A lot of times we saw that events, like I was really, as a speaker, attending a lot of events and being booked for a lot of events around 2019. And so it really became more about the features, right? Like the food, the this, the that, the this. And it was just, for me, less about the substance, like what am I actually getting? And I think that at that time, there's a lot of opulence. People have money, and that's kind of what was the lure. And I think as consumers sort of have their pockets squeezed more and more, everything is really intentional about their time, their money. And so I think that right now, it's great when you can have all of the high value features and, the guest appearances and the singers and, and all of the big names and things like that. But personally, for me right now, I am really taking stock in making sure that I'm understanding my consumer right now and their needs, what they need. And like Hadleigh said earlier, like really understanding that where we are right now, one, it's different. So I have to tap into that. So for me, it's making sure that I'm helping them understand their ROI of attending this event. What are they going to get? How is this going to immediately impact them? And communicating that effectively. So fortunately, I've been one of those people that was warning, about a lot of things that were coming. So I was kind of Chicken Little, running around. Ice falling soon, right? Well, Chicken Little has a little cloud in my hand now, right? So because life is showing you better than I can tell you. So fortunately for me, that conversation is easier. But, that is definitely it. It's focusing on that. What are they going to get, and what is the cost if they don't attend?
Awesome. Hadleigh, same question for you. Like, what content marketing strategies do you use to maximize that event attendance?
Yeah, the content strategy for me is kind of like the link that ties the entire marketing efforts together, because I like to go from a content marketing strategy. I like to go from what the customer or the attendee is actively seeking out. So back to tagging within your website, being able to see or actually posting some of those light boxes, like what are you interested in, and getting them categorized and tagged in your CRM appropriately, so you know what kind of content they want, because then your event marketing outreach is going to be that much easier, because you can go through and actually look at all of the sessions at an event and pick 2 or 3 that are going to be really relevant to that audience, and then following up and keeping that engagement post event, continue to send them content that is relevant based on what they attended at the session. So it's a holistic approach, and it goes pre, during, and post event that you have to think about content. And then all of your marketing efforts and outreach should be driven on that. It should all be tied to that person's personalized needs of what they're looking for.
Yeah, good to hear. And you both gave similar responses, which it definitely means that you're definitely aligned to what is the best practice for that, right? Now, taking a step back, going back to email marketing, Alquincia, for example, how do you feel about personalized marketing campaigns, right? Not just email, but personalized marketing campaigns. Like, how can companies execute them at a larger scale?
Well, one of the things that I've known and I always speak about is that we are in a buyer's market. It's
Yeah.
no longer the time where customer needs product, general store, you know what I mean? And that's where you go. Now they can get product from just about anywhere. So they are definitely choosing differently, especially Gen Z, on
Mhm.
their purchasing, why they purchase what they purchase. So that personalized feel and catering to them is really, really critical. Like, I think one of the famous ones is kind of like Coca-Cola, right? When they put the name on the bottles and, you kind of felt like, really personal. I think of the Starbucks. I think of Starbucks where just writing my name on that cup. I don't know. I think it really just in our minds is something we all know. Like, and then when they get it wrong, or you see a nickname or, whatever, it's that little thing, right? But I think that in terms of what people can do, one of the most simple things that I see people drop the ball on. You go to a website. The website has a pop-up. The pop-up pop-ups and it says, hey, you get a special discount. Give me your email. Customers know what that is. They're not crazy. They're like, you want my email? I know exactly what this is, right? So you can market to me. And the people that advise, I say, can you just do one thing for me? Add one question to that pop-up that is centered around that customer's goal. So for example, if you are into fitness, try this. Hey, welcome to the site. What's your fitness goal? Maybe it's to gain muscle mass, it's to lose weight or whatever. Have a drop down, so a simple or a little click that they can do real easy. Then ask them for their email. One, as a consumer, I feel like you're interested in me because I know you want my email. I know what you want, right? But at least if you ask me that question, I feel like you have some interest in what I'm interested in. Then you can do the segmented email because they largely just get that email and then send out that blank email to everyone. Whereas now, if you know your customer's goal and she's trying to lose weight, you're not going to send her that bulk up protein shake. You know what I mean? And then that's going to
Mhm.
land you in that spam box. And so that's the thing that I think, just that one little thing I think everyone can do. It's pretty much free across all channels and it's easy and it's something everyone can do.
Good to hear. Hadley, anything to add to that specific question about personalized marketing campaigns? Like, how do
I
you feel
love
like companies can leverage it?
I love that example, and I think that relates to every single industry and every single product or organization, and an easy win. I was just going to add to anything you can do to automate that personalization because it is a lot of extra resources to make it personalized. Your example of having some sort of drop down or a question that automates a lot of it for you. So anything you could do to make it easier on yourself as a marketer, the better. And back to, I know I keep saying the CRM tool, but the CRM tool is a great, support for something like that as well. Just being able to tag them in the system, and then you can pull this whole audience base to send a certain message to, and it just makes it a lot cleaner.
Got it. Yeah, definitely. I really love that example of the question before requesting the information, right, Alquincia? Like, it reminded me of this old ad of Snickers, hungry, grab Snickers, right? Like, and that won't put me as a Facebook user perfectly in your in your eyes, but basically, those are definitely good key insights for any marketer, right? Who instead of trying to get a response or a registration, needs to understand and get that acknowledgement, right, from the user, right, and that interest, of course, is really key. uh, I do have like one extra bonus question that you ladies don't have on your script, and it's Alquincia, what's the first app that you open once you wake up in the morning?
The first ad that I
app
opened.
app, app on your phone, sorry.
Oh, I was like, wait, okay. I cannot lie. It's
Emails.
my email. That's it. That's the
Okay.
very first thing that I do is my email. The second one is Instagram.
Awesome. Awesome.
They
Good.
got
What
me.
about
I'm so
you?
sorry. I know. They got
I
me. But
know. I'm sadly the same. I'm email and then our chat system. So I work at a global organization. So half of the companies in New Zealand. So in the middle of the night, I'm getting messages and
yep.
all of that. So, you always wake up to messages. And I want to just make sure there's nothing that I urgently need to move on before I,
Yes.
get a cup
Yes.
of coffee. So yes, I do the same. My email and that, the chat within our organization. And then I'm
Mhm.
Instagram too. Instagram's just
See,
a
and then it's like,
quick hit,
yes,
I
yes.
Awesome.
It's
it's
Awesome.
like yeah,
Good to
it
hear.
kind of numbs your mind a little and you're like ready to
yep.
go for the day.
You hit the quick scroll, like, okay, what's
And then
going
check
on?
the
And
weather too. Weather's another good one. I always check my
yeah,
weather
yeah.
out. Yes.
Mhm.
Well, I have a funnier one. Like one is my alarm clock. This is the first one
Okay.
that I open and I snooze right away. And the second is the light of my phone, so I don't wake up the baby while I wake up. So
Oh,
those are the two main apps. But yeah, third is Instagram. I promise you, and I swear that I'm also an active Instagram user.
I got
And yeah, yeah, definitely, we are on spot on there. So look, ladies, I do appreciate your time today. I really enjoy this almost full hour that we have been online. Thank you, Alquincia and Hadleigh, for all those valuable insights in marketing. We've learned about on how you both have applied these similar strategies to your industry and businesses. And yeah, I think we do have one bonus question that it's in the Q&A. I know that we're running out of time, but I would definitely like to read it so you could answer it. So Ben has asked, Hadley mentioned using email post events more so than pre-event. Does she also use that data to retarget audiences with social? And what does Alquincia think?
Yes, and yes. So the beauty of events typically is you get the lead list, right? And usually they've already opted into communications, opted to, their data, all of that. So you're able to take the lead list, send, post event communication. And a lot of times I use that same lead list for retargeting and paid social ads. So once they get into your database, it's a lot easier to start targeting them based on, again, their interest and following them around the interwebs, because that's the best way to keep your organization top of mind, or the event that they just attended top of mind. To bring them back, to get them more engaged in the future. So yes, I absolutely use it for other social channels as well. I think the post event communication and keeping that engagement is just as important as getting people to the event.
right.
Awesome.
So I also do now. I lean into the pre-survey. So I have an event, and I'll say, hey, you guys can sign up for the early access. So a lot of the events that I have, there's scarcity, so the space is limited. So I get much more urgency by saying, hey, if you want to get on this pre-registration list, sign up. So then I'm doing hyper targeted. Usually that's incentivized sometimes with an early bird discount code sometimes, but definitely getting that pre-registration. And then in terms of the post, I also incentivize all the time post event with a discount. So if you've already attended an event, I am definitely going to double down and give you a discount to the next event. And I don't put any contingencies on that largely. It's just, a matter of you attending once, you get a discount, or you can bring a guest to the next event for free or something like that. And I see that gives me a lot of success on making sure that they're on that list. And then I do really kind of like fire things. So my things are really quick and they're fast, especially freebies that I give. So it's quick, it's fast. You have to act on it now. I stand on my word. So if I say that sells over at one, that sells over at one. So, it's like you have to. So I do that for that urgency, because I feel like a lot of people, they really get sedentary, on things. So as much as I can, I try to capture people through that urgency, through the scarcity, through the discounts for rewarding those who have already attended and signed up.
Awesome. So, well, we all can agree that pre-event is key for attendance, for lead generation, but post-event is key for retention, right? Which it's basically the main Bible, right, for any marketer. But again, ladies, I enjoy my time with you today. God bless you for all you do on marketing and for your companies. I wish you all the best. And thank you, everyone who enjoyed this session on Discover Next. Please join us on our next and last session with our CEO, Muhammad Yunus, for closing remarks and have the chance to ask him anything related to your event initiatives. I'll see you around. And Alquincia, Hadleigh, bye bye, and thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Hadleigh. It's so
Thank
awesome
you.
sharing space with you. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful meeting you.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye, everyone.